Okay guys, welcome back to another video. Just before the video starts, I'm going to explain that this video was supposed to be meant for when I completely installed the Skunk2 K-Series manifold on the H22 engine. I wasn't able to do that. I have another video explaining why I wasn't able to do that. It's actually a YouTube short. You can go watch that, and then under 1 minute you'll find out why I wasn't able to do that. This video instead, I'm going to use the footage to show you guys how to remove your intake manifold. So let's get started. We are going to start, and I'm going to show you the first steps you need to do. First, you need to disconnect your battery. Second, you need to disconnect all the hoses connected to the intake manifold itself. Okay, so in order for you to remove the map sensor, you need to remove 2 Phillips head screws that hold it onto the manifold, and obviously disconnect the sensor from the wiring. Next, you will disconnect the idle air control valve, which you can see is basically right here. You will first disconnect it, and then when you get the manifold off, it's the best time to completely remove it off the manifold to install it on the other intake manifold. As you can see, there's another sensor connected down here. You want to disconnect that sensor as well. Be very careful not to break the plastic clips on the sensors. You definitely do not want to replace that. And also remember to remove all the clamps off the hoses. So as you can see, I removed this one, I removed this one, I removed this one on the map sensor itself, these hose clamps as well. You are going to have to remove this intake arm as well. I will show you how to do that. And I just wanted to show you and explain how to remove the throttle cable off the stock manifold. So what you will do is basically unbolt it here. Basically that's the adjustment, but to completely take it off, you can't just pull this out. It's not meant to come out. So you need to remove these two 10 millimeters, and then you should be able to remove everything off the manifold. Okay, so how I was able to remove the filter box here was basically remove the 10 millimeter that holds it here. There's also a 10 millimeter that holds it here, and then it basically you can just slightly pull it out and then it will come out of place. The other way to remove it off this intake arm is basically to squish this or the intake box, and then it should come out easily. And then with this, it has a clamp here, which also you can use. I think it's an 8 millimeter. I'll double check now and let you guys know. But then you should also disconnect these hoses that go at the top. So this one, as you can see, fits over there. There are some more at the bottom. So let's see, I'll show you guys now. But just be careful with the hoses and everything on the bottom of this. Okay, so I figured out it is a 5.5 millimeter socket. You can also remove it using a Phillips head screwdriver. I prefer this method because it's easier and the bolt doesn't break. So as soon as you do that, you should be able to remove everything. Okay, so another quick tip is basically when you remove this off this hose, all you need to do is basically squeeze the hose together. And as you can see, it's literally came out of place. So I need both hands to do this, but that's basically how you do this. Make sure you are squeezing the intake arm, and then you should be able to get this out of place. Also disconnect your throttle position sensor, which you can see right here. This is it. So it's basically just like the other sensors. You pull down on the tab and you just pull it back. can see I disconnected it. Make sure again you do not break these clips. You do not want to make this break this and then have to rewire everything. So please be careful. Disconnect your PCV hose. So basically just pull it out from the valve cover. That's it, you disconnected your PCV hose and continue on to the next step. Okay, so basically what you want to do to remove at least this plastic cover is basically, as you can see, that we have tabs in here, this small part. There's two, there's one here and there's another one here. How you are going to remove it is basically pull on this tab this way and it's going to release it from the clip under, and the same thing for this one. As you can see, it kind of released it from the small tab that it's right there. And then as you can see, you can at least have a little bit more room to see under here. And this is basically where the injectors go and everything else. It's going to give you a better view of the fuel rail, the injectors, and any bolts that connect the intake manifold to the cylinder head itself. So let's go ahead and do that. What you also want to do next is basically remove these clips that you see here. So there's one, there's two, three, and four. I'm pretty sure under here is where you're going to find the connection and the wiring for all of the injectors. As you can see, the wiring is coming out from under this. So that's why I want to get this open carefully. Again, do not try your best not to break anything. These plastics may be brittle and they may be very easy to break, and then they're very expensive and hard to find after that. Okay, so your next step would be to disconnect the injectors. Now, as you can see, there's an injector here. Let me see if I can get a better view. You literally grab it by both sides. There's tabs on each side of it, and then you would literally just slowly pull on the tab and remove the injector. That's literally how you remove it. Be very careful. I'm pretty sure, again, you do not want to break any of this. So there's four of them. Carefully remove it. As you can see, make sure you really press on the tabs. Sometimes it'll be easy or hard to come out. You can see I have my OEM injector harness. Remember to disconnect the hose clamps down here. There's one here and there's another one over here. You can barely see it. There you get a better idea of that one. So there's two of them that connect to this part of that's right below the throttle body. There are, let me see if I can put the flashlight down and give you guys a better look. So as you can see, we have one nut right there. This is one. We have another one, two here. There's a total of 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's a total of 5 nuts holding the intake manifold to the cylinder head. So let me see. I'll give you guys a better look. Okay, so this is one of them right there. When you are going to continue seeing them holding the manifold in place. So you have another one literally right there, and there's another one over here on this corner all the way at the end, so you can see it right there. There's also another one over here on the cylinder head, holding the intake manifold to the cylinder head. You can see this one right about, let me see, you can see it right there at the end. There's 5, so these are 12 millimeters, and you are going to have to remove each and every one of them. Also, to make things more easier, just disconnect the EGR valve and also remove it, because it is bolted to the manifold itself. It is held down by 2 12 millimeter nuts as well. Another part that you also are going to want to remove to get easier access just to the bolts that hold down the intake manifold, the throttle cable, remove these hoses here. So as you can see, there's a clamp that goes into the idle air control valve. Remove that. Remove this clamp, and also remove the clamps, this clamp down here that you can remove, and you're going to have to remove it anyways, because obviously when the intake manifold comes off, everything has to come off with it. So just do it now and it'll give you easier access to everything else. I just wanted to show you guys this before I remove this last nut that is located on this corner of the manifold, so I'm trying to get a better view of it. But as you can see, it's basically down there. You can see the wrench. You can barely see it. You can fit the 12, but you're not going to have that much leverage, so you can do this small trick, which is basically take two box stand wrenches, and this will give you a lot more leverage. So as I do this, I'll be able to unbolt it. But as you can see, I need both hands, so that's why I can't film this step. But that's the best way to remove this. Hey guys, so I hope you can see what I'm going to show you. It's basically the 5 nuts that hold the intake manifold on the bottom side. So there is one, let me see if you guys can see it. There is one right, it's literally right there. Now the problem with getting these off is the fact that they are under each runner. So they're not in between the runners, they're literally right under each runner. And there's 5 of them. Now, in this case, mine were seized, and I actually had to take them to like a shop so that they could have remove the seized bolts. I tried removing them with PB Blaster, but it didn't work. So the point is, basically, I'm trying to show you guys how to remove your intake manifold successfully. You're going to have to remove it. You're going to have to remove a couple of clips that hold on to it. There's one here. You can see there's one. Let me see. There's this spot right there. So there's this thing right here. You can see it bolts to the bottom of the intake manifold. You're going to have to remove that, and then as long as you take your time, you should see any other things that should be attached from the bottom of the intake manifold. You should be able to see them, and then you should be able to get them off. But as you can see, look, there's one bolt there, there's another one over here. These are still 12 millimeters. There's 5 of them, so that's how you get this off. And you might even have to remove the oil filter and do an oil change on your car, because this oil filter is going to be in the way of you removing the other nuts on the other 2 runners on this side. So that's how you remove your intake manifold.